Effectively, in bankruptcy, the company itself is no longer operating as an existing going concern. But generally speaking, the value of those shares end up going to zero. And even if the company does come out of bankruptcy, new shares are issued, but those shares are completely different from a legal standpoint than the pre-bankruptcy shares. People should be wary of buying shares that are extremely cheap. The reason that stocks are trading close to zero, those that are, is because the shares are nearly worthless because of a potential bankruptcy situation. And generally speaking, as they are going through a bankruptcy, they are now no longer traded on exchange, they're traded over the counter. Those after the bankruptcy process is reconciled typically will go to zero. Not all debt's the same, but the debt holders primarily do benefit from a company's reorganization, and sometimes they get paid in full from a liquidation in a bankruptcy. Usually, if you look at the level of security from debt to equity, senior secured debt holders tend to benefit the most from a bankruptcy situation. And we're seeing actually a combination of both grants and loans. For instance, airlines are provided about a 60-40 split between grants and loans. Loans, of course, have to be paid back. Ownership now are essentially issuances of the company of corporate debt that is bought by, let's say, a government-sponsored entity, or even the U.S. Treasury Department now through the Federal Reserve. And then common equity is another way that bailouts can happen. But the idea of a bailout in and of itself is to provide liquidity to corporations which have become cash-starved as a result of their businesses being shut down. An important takeaway is that just because a company is being bailed out or is on the list of a bailout doesn't necessarily mean that common shareholders are going to benefit from it. I think that's, again, sort of a misnomer that folks should be wary of, because we know that airlines, for instance, are getting bailouts both in the form of grants and loans. But if you notice how since the announcement of these vehicles to help finance their continuing operations, the shares of these companies have actually not participated.